Do you ever just Google a movie and find out it has like 4 sequels that you didn't know about? And see, normally I would be exaggerating when I say that, except in the case of the Home Alone series, which literally has 4 sequels that nobody talks about. Like, every time I've Googled Home Alone, which of course is all the time, there's always been these elusive 3 other sequels that have always just kind of been there. And most recently in December 2021, a 4th that I have heard nothing about. The original Home Alone is an incredible combination of talent from John Hughes as the writer, Chris Columbus as the director, John Williams on the score, and actually good child acting. So it's not something you could easily replicate. And I've gained even more of an appreciation for it after learning that it wasn't exactly made entirely legally, thanks to the movies that made us on Netflix. And Home Alone 2 was good as well, but has a very unfortunate cameo. Rob Schneider. But I've always been curious as to what these other sequels could possibly be about. Let's just watch the fucking movies. Home Alone 3 came out 5 years after the second and is Home Alone in name only, having absolutely nothing to do with Kevin nor anything from the previous 2 movies, as Macaulay Culkin had understandably already gotten sick of this premise before they would do it another 3 fucking times. Though it was still penned by John Hughes, so I suppose that gives me a little bit of hope. Instead of the Wet Bandits this time, we have a group of 4 criminals working for an international terrorist organization, searching for an Air Force chip that they hid inside of an RC car that they misplaced at the airport, which ever so happened to end up in the hands of our newest child psychopath, Alex. The reason for Alex being home alone is because he has chicken pox instead of his family abandoning him to go to another country, because unlike Kevin's parents, they actually love him. His siblings are still complete assholes though.
The world laughs, Alex.
You've stained the family name.
His sister is a very young Scarlett Johansson, by the way. So these guys just move into the neighborhood and start breaking into houses one by one, searching for it, and it doesn't take Alex very long to notice. They do actually have Alex call the cops on this totally unsuspicious group of people twice earlier on in the film, but both times they turn up with nothing.
Freeze!
And I do like that this is how they establish why he doesn't rely on the police going forward.
Excuse me for being a good citizen.
Alex?
It just so happens that unfortunately for these terrorists, they've picked a neighborhood with an 8-year-old child prodigy. This kid rigs up a camcorder onto an RC car to survey the nearby houses and gather evidence on the burglars, and meanwhile, I still can't figure out how Glad Wrap works. Just want to point out that he does all of this while being sick, by the way. Legend. Home Alone 3 does have some pretty creative sequences, like this ensuing chase scene where Alex is discovered and each of them make the mistake of trying to escape.
I said I'm heading to work.
That man is never going to walk again. Considering how smart Alex has been throughout the entire movie, I am terrified of how this final act is going to go. In fact, he actually waits until everybody is out of the house before he gets started. So he's home alone by choice. I am afraid of this child. So Alex electrocutes 2 of them before they even get in the house. One of them slips and smashes his face against the door. Then he drops a fucking trunk of books on 2 guys and blasts a dude's testicles with freezing cold water. Okay, those guys actually just died. These guys have guns this time, so it is a disappointment that we don't get to see Alex just straight up gunning them down. Though, it's not like he wasn't given the opportunity, he just wants to inflict as much pain on them as possible.
Give me the chip.
And that doesn't belong to you either.
What?
That's not your gun. This is your gun.
Oh, okay, never mind. He's got a gun. So, as it turns out, Home Alone 3 kind of slaps. I think they did a good job of making Alex not necessarily as endearing, but decidedly as insane as Kevin. The story here is so unbelievably over the top, upgrading the bad guys from regular goofy burglars to North Korean funded super criminals, that it's hard not to love it. I thought the traps were pretty good, and I am very impressed they somehow managed to make them look even more life-threatening than Home Alone 2. It does kind of make me wish that they kept upping the stakes in every future sequel like this though, where Kevin could go up against a genetically enhanced super burglar in space. One of the original plans for this, after they couldn't get Macaulay Culkin back, was to have Marvin Harry go after Kevin's cousin, who would have been played by his actual brother. So, you know, could have been worse. But don't get too excited, because it only gets worse from here. Home Alone 4 is a TV movie that came out another 5 years later, so you already know we're getting that mark of quality. So this one is a bit weird, because if 3 was the Season of the Witch of the Home Alone franchise, then this is the Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul. This one has Kevin in it, but it's not Macaulay Culkin, it's just some other kid. And instead of his parents having like 18 kids like in the first movie, his siblings this time have been cut down to 2. And it is supposed to be the same Kevin, as far as I'm aware.
You're watching Kevin.
Please let him go. I'll stay home alone.
No.
I've done it before.
Don't remind me.
Also, his parents are getting a divorce. It's like an alternate universe where everything is really shitty. For this Christmas, Kevin abandons his sad and grieving mother to go and stay with his dad and his new very rich fiancée Natalie, who lives in a voice-operated mansion. But at least Marv is back for this one, even though he looks and acts far more like Harry, but I'm sure that's not important. Except this time, he brought his wife along instead of Harry, who tragically died from his injuries in Home Alone 2. If I could give Home Alone 4 one thing, is that it does not take very long to get straight to the violence. Kevin sees two intruders inside, and so his immediate reaction is to flood the entire house. They do like a whole thing where nobody believes that there's burglars, and they all think he's just doing it for attention.
I told you the burglars broke into the house.
Kevin, you know I can forgive just about anything but lying.
You would think that after going through this twice now, his dad would at least believe him. Most of the movie is focusing on Kevin settling in with his dad and Natalie, who spend their time preparing for the arrival of the royal family. This is also why Marv happens to be there, because he's apparently moved up from robbery to child kidnapping. He also says that he has an inside man, which is how he was able to get into the mansion when before he could barely break into an empty house. And the movie tries to make you think it's their creepy butler by having Kevin repeatedly try and kill him, but it actually turns out to be the creepy maid.
The kidnappers are coming, but this time I'm one step ahead of them, and I locked their accomplice in the basement. Is this a perfect plan or what?
It would be, dear, except for one thing. Prescott is not their accomplice. I am.
Oh, fuck.
That poor butler, who, by the way, is also Marv's mother.
Then it all makes perfect sense. He hates his job, so he tries to pull off a big heist so he can afford to quit.
I don't know.
This woman must have been sweating as a 9-year-old figured out her entire plan. Kevin reconciles with the butler in the basement, who serves as this film's grumpy guy that he bonds with in every movie, which gets me every time. In the last third, they all of a sudden have Natalie be really cruel to Kevin for no reason when she'd been fine for the entire movie, because of course we have to teach the kids that remarriage is a sin. And so then at the end, Kevin's dad magically loves his wife again, and so breaks it off with Natalie after literally just getting engaged to her. This man cannot commit to anything. Honestly, Home Alone 4 is not horrible. It's a lot better than this poster was making me think it would be. It's generally considered to be the worst of the entire series, but I honestly didn't think it was anything too bad. Like, there's some aspects where it feels like they were actually trying, unlike the next two. I found out through IMDb that this one was intended to be a backdoor pilot to a Home Alone TV series, with many of the lead characters signing on for it when they agreed to be in the movie. It's also the reason that Kevin's parents suddenly get back together at the end, with the original plan being that Kevin's mom would fall for Marv's brother, who was a police officer, but when the ratings strangely underperformed, it was unfortunately forgotten about. The fifth in the series, Home Alone: The Holiday Heist, was directed by the same guy who brought us the Garfield movies, so I am expecting very good things. If Home Alone 4 is the long haul of the series, then this is the Pacific Rim Uprising, because I wish it was never made. Here we follow yet another new family who are in the midst of moving to a new home with the two single most annoying children of all time.
But this is Christmas.
In the frozen tundra of dragons and warriors, there are ice serpents that spew frost venom.
Our protagonist is Finn, and because it's 2012 and video games and phones exist now, he and his sister have to be obsessed with them.
The basement level in Dragons and Warriors is a prison filled with ghosts.
Finally, a Home Alone for the gamer generation.
Go outside and play. It'll be good for you. There's a boy next door that you can play with.
I do not want to meet anyone new. Can I just go upstairs and play my game?
Wow, this is a character arc I'm looking forward to.
Dude, have you ever considered making some real friends?
Get the fuck out of my room!
Their home happens to house a valuable art piece, which our new trio of thieves are trying to recover, because it's like a portrait of this guy's grandma, and also it's worth $85 million.
What am I supposed to do? I don't care. Whatever he wants. We're home alone.
There's a running joke in this one where everybody in the family thinks the house is haunted, and I do like that even the thieves believe this, and that's what they think is keeping them out instead of a sociopathic 10-year-old. But what makes this one stand out from here is that it is an actual plot point that Finn regularly consults some random 30-year-old man that he met through the voice chat over his game throughout the movie.
What's up, little man? Need some more pointers?
Thieves are attacking my house.
What game are you talking about?
They're almost here. How do I stop them from getting in?
Sounds like a tower defense game?
Like level 17 on Robo Infantry 3.
Oh my god. I love that there's not even an attempt to call the police this time.
And hey, if you need any more pointers, I'll be online for the next 8 to 10 years, probably.
All weirdness aside, their friendship is portrayed surprisingly wholesomely for a movie like this instead of how you think it would handle it.
Oh, fuck you, fat.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
It's only by talking to this random Discord mod that Finn and his clones are inspired to set up defenses around the house. The break-in beatdown this time is a lot more akin to the ones from the first 3 movies compared to 4's half-assed attempt, just obviously not as good. They do eventually acknowledge his sister's phone is flat and that's why he can't contact the authorities, but let's be honest, he totally wouldn't even if he was able to. There's a bit where Finn's friend tries to call his parents to tell them about what's going on. After getting his personal details from his username,
I hacked Finn's gamertag and I got your info from the credit card statement.
which he obviously has a bit of practice doing.
I'm calling about your son.
Who is this?
You don't know me, but I just want you to know that your son is okay.
How do you know my son?
It's complicated, actually. We met online and,
What?
Okay, so that came out wrong.
This man is going to prison.
Are you threatening my son?
What? No, look, hi, my name is Simon Hassler, and your daughter is locked in the basement.
You kidnapped my kids?
What?
Okay, that's pretty funny. And so they send a SWAT team to his house.
Where are the kids? Where are the kids? God!
Aside from the fact that they made the main character a gamer, which is hilarious, I have no idea what else to say about Home Alone 5 besides just summarizing the plot. Even the IMDb trivia page, which is my usual go-to, is just barren of any interesting information about its production. So, yeah, on to the last one, I guess. For the final and newest entry in the series, we have Home Sweet Home Alone, which was dumped onto Disney Plus only about 2 months ago as of this video. I think this one is more knowingly a retelling of the events of the original film, just as shittily as humanly possible.
The schools here are amazing. Correct, Jeff?
Yeah, some of the best in the state. They are totally lit.
The new kid this time is Max, who is British.
Mum, you can't promise a kid McDonald's and not deliver.
Ooh. What a McShane.
The story this time is a bit weird because we also follow this other couple who are trying to sell their house, who become involved with Max after they think he stole a doll from them, which turns out to be worth over 200 grand on eBay. And they are our worst thieves yet.
We're not giving up. We need a W, Pam.
Look, this is a very strange movie.
Don't touch me, perv. I'm your sister.
I just wanted to watch a Christmas movie, man. Max gets left behind almost the exact same way that Kevin does, with his incredibly annoying family rushing out on a trip overseas while completely forgetting about him after he spent the night hiding out in their not product placement BMW. And this movie really wants you to know it was made in 2020.
Hey, Bethany, is this a good time for a selfie in front of an Uber? Hashtag ill-judged.
And in their insanity, they literally say their alarm code out loud in front of this random stranger and also show him where they keep their house key. Good one, guys. A lot of the movie from here is essentially just a bargain bin version of the events of the original Home Alone.
Hello, no good kid.
Oh, this is garbage. I don't know why they're always trying to remake the classics. Never as good as the originals.
Strangely though, they have a cop that shows up with the name McAllister, who turns out to be Buzz, Kevin's older brother from the first movie, for you fake Home Alone fans.
When I was a kid, my family went on vacation. We forgot my little brother, Kevin. Twice.
What? But... What? The HACU is so hard to keep up with. So that means it's not a reboot, it's a sequel that has the exact same plot. Oh, okay. We do find out that Kevin is the head of a security company now, so I guess that's something. Anyway, they save the actual home invasion bit until the last half hour. Though this time the thieves are almost killing themselves before they even get in the house.
I think I shattered my cock.
I don't want to say that the traps in this movie are terrible or anything by themselves, but when you're up against the original Home Alone by your name, then they're always going to look comparatively more uncreative. What I do like in this one is that the burglars literally beg Max to just sit down and have a conversation, and the psycho is still content with torturing them.
Oh, hey, okay, so listen, we just want to talk.
He puts fucking pins inside of Nerf darts. Jesus Christ, dude. They do eventually just talk it out at the very end after the two barely survive a maze of death traps. And they even invite Max to stay over with them for the night until his mom gets back after they just tried to break into his home and rob him.
Your mom.
They also discover that he never actually took the doll and that they had it the entire time. And so will suffer permanent debilitating injuries for absolutely nothing. The end. Somehow, Home Sweet Home Alone is the worst one yet. I don't think I have ever checked how much time is left in a movie more than when I was watching this. I think the idea they were going for here was a twist on the usual structure by making the kid the villain and the intruders be the ones we're rooting for. But they don't really commit enough to either side that you know who you're supposed to be following. So then everyone ends up annoying and you have to watch these normal people getting absolutely obliterated by traps. I think this one really goes to show that there's only so much you can do with the same premise 6 times. At least the Holiday Heist had that whole dumb gaming thing. This was just... no. I mean, it definitely felt like a Disney version of Home Alone. Haha. I am so tired of Christmas.